Today we have a 2009 Honda Odyssey EX with a 3.5 motor. This was just purchased by a friend of ours, and they want me to kind of go through it and check it over. But first thing you want me to do is replace the front brake pads. We're going to show you where that's located and how to do it. We're going to do a pad slap on this. We start out with a 7/8 on this, jacked it up. And once I get the tire off, I'm going to put a stand under there so you're safe. Okay, once I get the tire off like that, a lot of times I like to, sometimes you gotta turn the key, sometimes you don't. I like to turn this so the caliper's facing out like that, so it's easy to access the bolts. We're gonna break this 14 loose on the bottom. A lot of times I do not take the top one off. Okay. Just like that. Put that off the side. Just raise this up like that. Slide it over, and now we can get at the pads. Now these pads actually don't even look that bad. This car was just purchased recently and they wanted me to check it. And since we've already bought the pads and that, we're gonna replace them anyway. But we will keep these. They could use them later if they choose to, but just gonna replace them with the new ones. And these aren't sliding good anyway, so I like them to slide a little better than that. This gives you a little trouble sometimes. You just gotta take something and tunk it. Actually, you want these to slide smoothly. I talked to the customer, and most of the time you wouldn't replace them if they look like this, but they're older and they just want the, knowing that it's brand new, they don't want to have to think about it. So we're just gonna throw some new ones in there real quick. We're ready to install the new pads. They don't always give you new ones. Usually if you get a medium grade or above, they do. So we're gonna pop this off and the one on top and replace it with the new ones. And all you do, snap it down into place like that. Gets rid of all the rust and stuff like that. You might want to put something in here because if a bolt like this on here, lug nut, because see how this moves right here? You want this to run true, so it's easier when you're putting your brake pads out like that, just to put that on. At least I like to do it that way. So, okay, put that. Next thing we do is reinstall the new pads. Also, there is one on the top, there's one on the bottom, there's one on the top, so replace both of those. And on the back, this is a pad indicator. We call it a squeaker, but it's a pad indicator. It just tells you when it gets close enough. So if you hear that little squeaky noise, you know it's time to replace your pads. You want to put it in the same spot. This was on the back side, on the top. So you find the pad that matches that, and you're going to put that in place just like that. Sometimes these move a little like that. It makes it tough to get in there. You might have to grind, and I'm not saying a lot. It depends on the pad or the manufacturer. Sometimes you have to grind them, but you want your pad to move that freely, because if it doesn't, it can prematurely wear that pad. So you want it to wear that easy right there, or move that easy. Now this outside one does not have that brake indicator or wear indicator. So all you gotta do is push this, and you're pushing against this. It's gonna go like that, top and bottom, just like that. It's hard to see for you, but, and then all you do is push it in, just like that. And you want it to move that freely. You don't want it to rattle, but you want to have it where it moves freely. A lot of times I get them installed like that. I like to put the disc brake quiet on it. You don't always need it, but I always put it on, just extra insurance against any squeaks. Come up on top here. This one's got a dual piston. A lot of times there's one. This has got a dual piston caliper. And we're just going to push these back. You got to make sure it goes back nice and easy, just like that. And doing it this way, you don't usually ever have to bleed your system. And I like this. This is excellent stuff. You got to make sure your slide pins move freely. If they don't, it'll wear your brakes prematurely, and the car actually might pull left or right. So, lube the heck out of that one. Make sure it moves like that. We'll do the top one. Caliper back on. When you pull this off the top, you got to make sure that you don't put a lot of pressure on that line, that brake line, and you don't want to pinch that whatsoever. Just slide in like that, moves like that, push that down, push this over on the bottom like that, and we'll put our bolt in. Just going with this, our 14. Tighten that up. The 14, we'll check the top even though we didn't take it apart. Okay. All right, straighten out the wheel and put our wheel and tire on. So you don't forget to take this lug nut off. And we reinstall the tire. You can take the jack out at this time, or you can wait till you have the tire on. Get all these started. So you don't cross thread it. Finish it off with the impact. We tighten it down with a impact. Then we're gonna go around and check it with a torque wrench later once we get it down on the ground. But that's all it takes to do brake pads on a 2009 Honda Odyssey with a 3.5 motor.